400 million M&Ms. Every day. Factories across the country. Over 100 countries. A lowercase m stamped on every single piece. 2.6 million per hour. 6 colors in every bag. 85 years. Simple. Iconic. In 1976, red disappeared from every M&M bag. Not because of the candy. Not because of the chocolate. Not the shell. Not the recipe. A food dye panic that had nothing to do with M&Ms wiped red off the shelf for 11 years. Somebody fought to bring it back. Mars didn't sue, they joined. Now in 2026, 2 more colors are leaving the bag. Blue and brown. Different decade, different reason, same factory floor. The chocolate hasn't changed. The shell hasn't changed. The stamp hasn't changed. The colors are the part that keeps rewriting the whole story. M&Ms have been swapping colors since 1941. Violet was in the original bag, gone by 1949. Tan lasted until 1995, then lost a public vote to blue, 10 million ballots. Colors come and go, but red is the only one pulled because of a scare. In 1971, Soviet scientists linked red dye number 2 to cancer in rats. A human would have needed thousands of cans of red soda per day to match what the rats got. The FDA spent 5 years trying to confirm it. The lead scientist quit before the study was finished. They never proved it caused cancer. The FDA banned it anyway, January 1976. M&Ms never used red dye number 2. They used numbers 3 and 40. Didn't matter. Mars pulled red from the bag, replaced it with orange. Thousands of letters poured in. A college freshman started a campaign to bring red back. Mars's PR director joined his club and paid dues. Not a cease and desist, a membership check. Red came back in 1987. Color is always the last step. 6 colors, 6 separate batches. Each one runs its own drum. This is panning. Chocolate centers go into large rotating drums. Chest high, open at the top, sugar and corn syrup sprayed on. Thin layers, timed coats. The drums turn slow, low rumble, upwards of 50 individual syrup shots per candy. Each coat dries before the next one hits. The whole panning cycle takes several hours, start to finish. Workers pull samples from the drum, snap them in half, hold it up to the light, check the shell thickness. Too thin and the shell cracks. Too thick and it's wrong. The shell has to be light, crisp, smooth, and strong enough to keep chocolate from melting in your hand. That's not a slogan, that's an engineering spec. The last coat is where the color goes. Food coloring mixed into a finishing syrup. The final spray layer. Red gets its own syrup mix, its own spray nozzles, its own run. In 1976, those nozzles went quiet. For 11 years, the drums that made red M&Ms didn't spin. 5 colors came off the line instead of 6. In 1987, the red line started up again. Same drums, new dye batch. But before color goes on, the center has to exist. Cocoa, sugar, milk, and cocoa butter blended together, then conched. Mixing, agitating, aerating. The chocolate cycles through heat and cooling until it's smooth enough that your tongue can't feel the grain. 4 to 72 hours. 11 vats. 3 types. Milk chocolate, peanut coating, and semi-sweet. Tempering, heated to 45 degrees Celsius, cooled to 27, reheated to 31. Each pass changes the set. Get it right, and the surface is glossy and firm. Get it wrong, and the candy comes out dull, soft, or streaky. Liquid chocolate pours into tiny molds on a chilled conveyor. Each center is 13 millimeters across. The molds ride through a cooling tunnel, cold air over the belt. Steady hum. The chocolate contracts and releases from the mold on its own. Those centers go straight into the drums. A final pass of carnauba wax gives them the shine. Same wax used on cars and surfboards. That's what keeps the shell smooth between your fingers instead of sticky. After waxing, a conveyor carries each candy to the etching machine. Every piece rests in its own tiny indentation. Rubber rollers print the lowercase m offset printing. Designed not to crack the shell. 2.6 million per hour. A sifting belt sorts them. Round ones roll through. Irregular ones get discharged. Back to the melting vat. Nothing wasted. Weighed, bagged, sealed. 400 million pieces a day. Same drums, same rhythm, same nozzles, same line since the 1940s. That was the system until 2025. January 2025. The FDA bans red dye number 3, the same dye M&Ms used back in the 70s, a dye they were never even accused of using. Banned under a federal rule, if it causes cancer in animals, it goes, no human proof needed. The study's own lead researcher, 94 by then, said his work never found it caused cancer. Didn't matter. April 2025. The FDA announces a phase-out of 6 artificial dyes by end of 2026, including red number 40, the exact dye M&Ms switched to after the 1976 scare. The replacement for the wrongly feared dye is now being phased out too. Mars had pledged this back in 2016, then reversed course when customers didn't care. Now the pressure's regulatory, not optional. Kraft Heinz, General Mills, Hershey, every major food company is reformulating. Mars announces dye-free M&Ms launching August 2026. Only 4 colors: red, yellow, orange, green. Blue and brown are out. Over 100 employees, millions of dollars, rebuilding an 85-year-old icon. Skittles, Starburst, Extra Gum going dye-free too. Mars calls it the most complicated project in the candies history. The problem is spirulina. It takes 7 times the dye's quantity for the same shade, and it's thick, clogging spray nozzles and panning drums that have run since the 1940s. Water quality shifts the color. Kansas versus New Jersey, same spirulina, different results. Cost matters too. Spirulina runs about $100 a pound versus $10 for blue one. No blue means no brown. Brown is collateral damage. Mars tested purple, pink, even a red-orange-yellow mix that looked like a sunset. Landed on 4, upgrading more than 300 machines. Dye-free bags launch on Amazon only. Originals stay on shelves for now. Target all 6 natural colors by 2028. Europe already solved natural red with crushed insects. In 1976, M&Ms lost a color over a dye they didn't use. In 2026, they're losing colors because natural replacements are too thick, too expensive for the math. 400 million M&Ms roll off the line every day. Every color in that bag is a survivor. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.